Hello everyone, I welcome you all to Manu Classes Current Affair Analysis. In this particular video, we will discuss The Hindu August 1 Delhi edition newspaper. Our main topic of concern for today is Zero FIR. Then we will discuss about Dengue. Then we will discuss about the National Capital Civil Services Authority. Then we will discuss about the new anti-discrimination law which will be implemented in IIT Bombay. Then we will discuss about Article 370 and also about the semiconductor chip manufacturing. And then we will discuss about Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana and also about hybrid EV and Akira Ransomware. So these are our main topic of concern and we will discuss other news as well. So talking about first news that is related to Manipur incidents, and here the SC has said to Manipur government that give us complete background of 6,000 FIR. So here Supreme Court said it on Monday that it needed a complete background of approximately 6,000 first information report or the FIRs from the Manipur government. And also the court was shocked to know that the Manipur police took 14 days to register even a zero FIR on the sexual assault and the gang rape of two women. So these are important upcoming about this news. Now, what is our motive or why we are discussing this particular news? Because we want to discuss about what is zero FIR. So we will discuss in detail about zero FIR. What is it? So zero FIR, it basically refers to an FIR that is registered irrespective of the area, where the crime was committed. Okay, so this is the zero FIR. For example, a crime occurred in several districts of Manipur, and if someone want to report it in another district or somewhere else, so that is called zero FIR. The police in such case can no longer claim that they have no jurisdiction. So in zero FIR, police cannot claim that. And such an FIR is then later transferred to the police station that has actual jurisdiction so that the investigation can begin. And it was introduced on the recommendation of Justice Verma Committee. Okay, it was introduced on the recommendation of Justice Verma Committee, which was basically formed at the backdrop of the brutal Nirbhaya gang rape which occurred in Delhi in 2012. And this puts a legal obligation on the police to begin an investigation and take quick action without the excuse of the absence of jurisdiction. So this is about zero FIR. Now we will discuss in brief about FIR or the first information report. It is the information which is given to the police officer in writing as per the section 154 of CRPC. And from the point of view of an informant, the main purpose of the FIR is to set criminal law into motion. While for the police, the main purpose of FIR is to obtain information about the alleged crime. Okay? And it takes necessary step to produce the perpetrator before the court. Now talking about zero FIR, what is the objective of zero FIR? So first, it is basically to avoid any delay or any other kind of disruptions. It is usually done to make police bound to take the jurisdiction, and timely jurisdiction is to be taken immediately after the registration of the FIR. And it is basically to make sure that the investigation is done properly and it will enable the court to proceed fast. So these are the 5 objectives of zero FIR. So here the Supreme Court was shocked because in case of zero FIR, it took approximately 14 days to register zero FIR. So that's why it is a heinous, like it is a negligence kind of issue. So that's why the Supreme Court is now taking up all the matters and it is saying that it wants a detailed report of all the 6,000 FIR which has been filed and also about the zero FIRs. So this was an important news which you should know from current affair perspective. Moving further toward our next important news, that is about dengue. Dengue is at its 5-year high and municipal work go on an indefinite strike. So near 240 cases has been reported of dengue in the city on July 28, and also the MCD has also released its report and it added 72 cases of malaria, and it is also increasing because after the flood there is a case of waterlogging, and that is the main reason that these malaria, dengue, chikungunya, these kind of diseases are spreading. So now we will discuss about dengue, that what is dengue, how it is caused, and what are the treatment available for dengue, because it is in news and we should know about it. So talking about dengue. Dengue is caused by the dengue virus. So you should know that it is a viral disease. Now it is to human, transmitted to humans through the bite of infected female mosquito. The name of this mosquito is Aedes aegyptia. Okay, just remember the name. और ऐसे जो मस्कीटोज होते हैं जो आपके डिजीज को स्प्रेड करते हैं, इनको हम क्या कहते हैं? वेक्टर्स. So Aedes aegyptia is a vector of dengue. Now the severe form of dengue causes dengue hemorrhagic fever, and it can also cause serious bleeding or internal bleeding, and it can also cause a sudden drop in the blood pressure and it can lead to death. Now it is more common, dengue is more common in tropical and subtropical climate. In these area it is very common, and the effect of these in these country is also very high, so they have a very high burden of dengue cases. Now talking about symptoms, so most common symptom, as I said, it will be high fever, then it can be headache, body aches, nausea and rash. And if most of the time it will get better in 1 to 2 weeks, but in severe cases it can take a lot of time and it can also be fatal. So talking about treatment, we know that there is no rescue or no treatment for any viral disease. So that's why there is no specific treatment for dengue fever or for dengue. If in case of there is early detection of the disease, so we can improve the symptom, and based on that basis our body will automatically improve or fight against this viral disease. But in case if there is no early detection, then it can be fatal. There is a dengue vaccine called the CYD-TDV or the Dengue Vaxia. It's called Dengue Vaxia. So this was approved by the US Food and Drug Administration in 2019, and it is the first dengue vaccine to get regulatory nod of the USA. But till now, anything is not that effective because it is a viral disease. Moving further toward our next important article, that is coming in from the news section and the state section, where we will discuss about the Delhi Services Bill is likely to be tabled today. So we have already discussed quite since a long time about this particular amendment and this particular ordinance. Now it will get a legal backup if it will be passed by the parliament. So here the bill will replace the Delhi Services Ordinance, which will be introduced in the Lok Sabha on Tuesday or today, and the Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi Amendment Act 2023 seeks to designate the Lieutenant Governor as the authority with a final say on the posting and transfer of all the bureaucrats serving under the Delhi government. So whoever is working under the Delhi government, their transfer, their appointment, all these decisions were being taken by the Lieutenant Governor. So this is the structure of this particular body, that is the National Capital Civil Services Authority. Here there will be a 3-member body: Chief Minister, Chief Secretary and Principal Home Secretary. Now they will basically give their recommendation And in this case, the recommendation is based on the majority. For example, if these two will be in favor of something, so his decision will be negated, or chief minister decision can be negated. So that's why this is the main reason behind such a protest, that it is against the idea of federalism. And here, if these parties will be agreed for certain reforms or for certain transfer, so they can give their decision to the lieutenant governor, and lieutenant governor will have a final say. He can also return the recommendation if he disagrees with it, and the final recommendation will be that of the lieutenant governor. So as we know, this particular draft bill, which mandate the creation of the authority for transfer and posting of the senior officers, it will be there, and there is basically two aspects of divergence, that it drops section 3A that said, notwithstanding anything contained in any judgment, order or decree of any court, the legislative assembly shall have the power to make law as per Article 239 AA, except with regard to the matter enumerated in entry 41 of the list of 7th schedule. So this is dropped, or this provision will be dropped. And second deviation is that it empowers lieutenant government to appoint the head of the boards or commission that was enacted by the Delhi Legislative Assembly. So these are the main point of contest. The objective of this bill is simple, that it wants to give the purpose and basically the whole power to the lieutenant governor. So that's why this will be tabled in Lok Sabha, and we will see that whether it will get passed or what will happen. So this is a news in transition. Moving further toward our next important news that is coming in from IIT Bombay, and it will basically put anti-discrimination norm for the upcoming batches, because there was an incidence of suicide of a Dalit student, and that caused because of the caste discrimination, and that's why this new proposal or this new recommendation will be seen here. And according to these recommendation, they will disallow students from asking each other their JEE or gate entry categories, and it will suggest students to bond over where they were from and the mutual interest, and it prohibits the spreading of casteist or the sexist or the hateful messages or jokes. And along with that, these guidelines do not specifically prohibit the circulation of joke that are anti-reservation. So something the student have said is almost most common ways of being discriminated against. So basically it aims to avoid any sense of caste discrimination, and it also wants for any punishment if they will do such things. The students will do such things. So that's why it is an important news. Moving further toward our next important article that is coming in from the editorial section. Here there is a news on Article 370, and it will be, so Article 370, hearing the original text and spirit count. This is the editorial section article, and here basically there is a disregard. As we all know, Article 370 was abrogated, and Article 370 provided a special status to the state of Jammu and Kashmir, and the abrogation or the annulment of this Article 370 has been challenged in the Supreme Court. So here the main idea or main the argument is that all those who are challenging this particular act, because this was done, Article 370 was negated or it was abrogated in when the state was in precedent rule. Okay. So according to the act which was there in the Government of India Act, it said that if there will be any discontent, then there should be a recommendation of state legislative assembly. But as the state was under the precedent rule, then how come you are abrogating this particular article? So this is the whole point of contestation, and they are saying that abrogation of Article 370 is unconstitutional, because Article 370 is important and it should be abrogated, or there should be any change if the state agree to do that. And in such case, In this particular case, the whole state was under president rule and the governor solely decided to agree with the center to abrogate or to remove this article 370. So this is an important article. Just read about it. The whole crux of article is this. Moving further toward our next important article, that is about the semiconductor chip manufacturer. So here the government has made a fresh bid to attract major global chip manufacturer in the country. Semicon India Summit, just remember this name, Semicon India Summit. It was attended by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and he basically told all the prospective investors that the government has drawn on their suggestion after the first such conference last year, and they have taken proactive decision in the area of concern. So what they will do? They will lower down the taxes or the corporate taxes which will be imposed on these chip manufacturers. Apart from that, there will also be like tech firms, they can set up their production facilities and government will provide some subsidies in order to do that. And also there will be a 50% financial assistance which will be provided by government to these international chip makers, and in order to do that, the government is helping the corporates to set up the chip or the semiconductor chip. Okay, moving ahead, this particular agreement was also basically Mr. Modi during his US state visit. He also cleared a rupees or $2.75 billion assembly, testing, marketing, packaging facility in Gujarat, which was proposed by US based Micron Technology. So this deal, it basically enhanced the cooperation among the two countries, and along with that it also tried to build a semiconductor supply chain. So it was also important. So just remember these two names. First is the Semicon India Summit, which was held recently, and in that the Prime Minister suggested all these semiconductor manufacturers to invest more in India, and apart from that, this particular country, this particular US based technology, Micron Technology, it proposed to set up a deck testing, marketing, packaging facility in Gujarat. Just remember these two important issues. Apart from that, why we are aiming to create more and more semiconductor facilities in India? The reason is to counter China, because right now everyone is depend more or less on China and also on Taiwan. Taiwan is the largest chip maker, semiconductor chip maker. It has a very fine quality of semiconductor chips. So we just want to reduce the dominance of these two countries, and we want to become self-independent or self-dependent. Okay. Moving further toward our next important article, that is coming in from the Recalibrating India's Clean Cooking Strategy. So here the author is saying that the LPG, it is a very good fuel to ensure a clean cooking strategy or to ensure a good cooking facility for the poorer and the rural household people. The Gramin Vitrak Yojana, it has been mentioned, so just note it down. The Gramin Vitrak Yojana, it was launched in 2009, and it basically helped to grow the rural distributor base from 18 to 60% of the total LPG distribution base. So here basically what the author is saying, that the LPG, it is much better than other fuels. Like earlier we used to use coal, or we used some लकड़ी का इस्तेमाल करते थे, वुड्स का इस्तेमाल करते थे, तो इसमें पोल्यूशन बहुत ज्यादा होता था, और साथ ही साथ यहाँ पे ये जो कुकिंग, जो खाना बना रहे हैं, उनकी हेल्थ को भी बहुत ज्यादा इफेक्ट करता था. तो इसके कंपैरिजन में एलपीजी इज अ वेरी गुड और अ वेरी क्लीन फ्यूल. सो वी आर यूजिंग एलपीजी नाउ, and to enhance the use of LPG, there are various schemes like Gramin Vitrak Yojana, which was introduced or launched in 2009, and it helped to grow the rural distributor base. Like in rural area, the base was increased from 18 to 60%. And another very ambitious program was Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana. We will discuss in detail about this scheme. So this scheme also provided 9.5 crore new household with the LPG connection. So it is basically providing near universal coverage of the LPG, and it was basically a very good scheme, and it showed a very positive results. And for the first time, LPG consumption in Indian households saw an absolute reduction in financial year 2023 after years of steady growth. So this is point that where we have to focus. Like after the implementation, this scheme, the Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, it was introduced in 2016, and from then there was a steady increase, and now in financial year 2023 we saw a decline. So why this decline, and what are the major reason behind that? So LPG is very good fuel, and here the primary cooking fuel, it has replaced in 71% in 2020 from 33% in 2011. So now we are basically relying on LPG only, and it has been said by a study conducted by the IRES and CEEW. So it is a very good initiative to be a clean cooking solution. But now in after this particular schemes were launched, it also increased. But along with that, now in the financial year 2023, its amount reduced. Why? Because the challenge which India is facing, that it is dependent on the imported LPG, and we know that there has been like some world trouble or world wars which is going on. There is wars going on, there is slowdown in the economy of other countries. So that's why we are not importing that much, and that's why there is a reason, this is the reason behind the drop of LPG uses. Now what the author is saying, that we need to diversify our clean cooking strategy. We need to not just use of LPG, or we should not move only the LPG only strategy. We should use or devise some other method like the electric cooking, like the induction based cooking or something like that, or we can also use the solar cookers. So this is what this article is about. Now we will discuss in detail about the scheme which has been mentioned over here, that is the Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana. Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana. It was launched in the year of 2016, and its objective is to provide clean cooking fuel to the poor household who basically rely on coal, or who basically rely on woods for cooking. So that's why in order to provide them clean cooking fuel, this particular scheme was launched. Now it has been a very successful scheme. There is more than 7 crore people who has been benefited from this particular scheme. The coverage of this particular scheme is under the PMUY, is under the implementation in all the states and union territories, and the scheme was launched with the identification from the social economic caste census. For example, those who are vulnerable or those who are poor, they will be provided free LPG connections, or they will be given free LPG cylinders. So it was basically for all the poor, or for the poor who do not have access to clean cooking fuel, so they can get access through this scheme. And it is implemented by Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas through its oil marketing companies. Okay, through this particular scheme is being implemented, and their distributor workers. So this is an important scheme. Just note down all the important points because it is important from your examination point of view. Moving further toward our next important article, that is coming in from the hybrid EV text and context section. So what is important, that hybrid electronic vehicle or electric vehicle, it is a crucial element in the world's transition to net zero. What is the meaning of net zero? For example, if there is a source, like if suppose we are traveling in our personal vehicles, or we are using any bus or something like that, so we are emitting carbon dioxide, we are generating a source, there should also be equal amount of sink here. Sink means like if we do afforestation, if we plant more and more trees, if the oceans they are in healthy status, so they can act as sink or the carbon sinks. The amount which we have generated CO2, it will get absorbed by these sinks. So that is what net zero emission or net zero meaning of net zero is. So here hybrid electronic vehicle, they are the crucial element because it won't generate that much amount of CO2 and hence it can be a good initiative or it can be a good tool for us to reach the net zero in near future. And by combining the benefit of the internal combustion engine with the electric drivetrains, these vehicles offer an effective short-term solution to lower the emission. Now, hybrid vehicle, they are not exactly what you think as electric vehicle. इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल जो होता है वो आपका प्योरली इलेक्ट्रिसिटी पे चलता है. हाइब्रिड व्हीकल जो होते हैं वो आपके फ्यूल प्लस इलेक्ट्रिसिटी दोनों पे चलते हैं. सो दैट्स व्हाई दे आर मोर प्रैक्टिकल एग्जांपल और दे आर मोर प्रैक्टिकल इन सॉल्यूशन to use hybrid vehicle, and it basically combines the benefit of the internal combustion engine with the electric drivetrain, and the vehicle offers effective short-term solution to lower down the emission and the fuel cost, and it is moving toward, with the use of these we are moving toward a sustainable future, and they provide a realistic approach that how we can face the fast changing infrastructure, because right now we cannot completely switch to electric vehicle, so that's why we need to use hybrid electric vehicle. Okay, so this was an important news. Just remember what is hybrid electric vehicle, what is the concept of net zero, and when India will achieve it. India will achieve it by 2070. Okay, just remember these important points. Now we will move toward our next important article, that is about Akira Ransomware. Why has the government issued a warning against it? So सबसे पहले हम समझेंगे ransomware क्या होता है. Malware का मतलब होता है any malicious program. For example, malware में आपके viruses भी आ सकते हैं, आपका कोई ऐसा spyware भी आ सकता है, आपका ransomware भी आ सकता है, तो these are coming under the malware. Now malware जो होता है, जब कोई malware, कोई ऐसा malicious प्रोग्राम या कोई ऐसा प्रोग्राम जो हमारे कंप्यूटर का वर्किंग खराब कर दे और वो नॉर्मली बिहेव ना करे या हमारा डेटा चोरी हो जाए, तो ये malwares के थ्रू होता है. जब कोई भी ऐसा malware आपसे ransom मांगने लगे, ransom का मतलब क्या होता है, पैसे मांगने लगे आपके कंप्यूटर को नॉर्मली बिहेव करवाने के लिए, तो उसको हम कहते हैं ransomware. ओके, तो यहाँ पे CERT-N ने बेसिकली आपका जो ransomware है Akira, it has been dubbed as Akira, इसके अगेंस्ट वार्निंग जारी किया है. तो अब हम डिस्कस करेंगे व्हाट इज एन Akira ransomware. Akira ransomware is designed to encrypt data and create a ransomware node and delete the window, shadow, volume and copies on the affected device. For example, ये आपका क्या करेगा, आपका जितना भी डेटा होगा उसको एनक्रिप्ट कर देगा, ransomware नोट बनाएगा. ये जो विंडो शेडो वॉल्यूम होता है, इसमें बेसिकली इसको ये डिलीट कर देता है, क्योंकि विंडो शेडो वॉल्यूम से हम कोई भी चीज अपना डाटा बैकअप कर सकते हैं या हम कोई भी अपना एप्लीकेशन बैकअप कर सकते हैं. तो जब इसको डिलीट कर दिया, सो वी कैन नॉट बैकअप, और हमारा जितना भी डेटा है वो आपका किसके पास चला गया, जो ये Akira ransomware है, जो भी इसको ऑपरेट कर रहा है उसके पास चला गया. तो यहाँ पे ये जो ransomware है, ये ऐसा डिजाइन किया गया है कि it will close all the processes and it will shut down the window services and it may keep encrypting files of the affected system. यहाँ पे ये VPN सर्विस का यूज कर रहा है, और यहाँ पे जो भी आपका स्पेशली जब यूजर्स का जो 2-factor ऑथेंटिकेशन नहीं होता, तो यहाँ पे ये ट्रिक करता है यूजर को कि आप इस malicious प्रोग्राम को या malicious फाइल्स को डाउनलोड करें, एंड ऑन दैट बेसिस ये ransomware पूरे डिवाइस को इनक्रिप्ट कर देगा और पूरे डिवाइस को ये इन्फेक्ट कर देगा, और जितना भी आपका सेंसिटिव डेटा है वो ये स्टील कर लेगा. और जब तक आप इसको पैसे नहीं देंगे जितना ये मान रहे हैं, तब तक ये आपका कंप्यूटर से ransomware हटाएगा. सो दिस इज एन इम्पोर्टेंट क्राइटेरिया फॉर ransomware, और दिस इज व्हाट ransomware इज. अब ये Akira ransomware काम कैसे करता है? It basically terminates the active window service using the window restart manager API, और यहाँ पे ये आपका किसी भी इंटरफेरेंस को प्रिवेंट करता है विद द एनक्रिप्शन प्रोसेस. It is designed not to not encrypt program data, recycle bin, boot, system volume information and other folders instrumental in the system stability. और उसके बाद ये आपका क्या करता है, ये अपने आप से इसको जो सिस्टम है उसको मॉडिफाई कर लेता है और यहाँ पे सारा डेटा स्टील कर लेता है. और यहाँ पे एक धमकी दी जाती है कि अगर आप पैसे नहीं देंगे या अगर आप पे नहीं करेंगे या जो भी चीज है वो नहीं करेंगे तो आपका जितना भी डेटा है वो डार्क वेब पे चला जाएगा. सो जस्ट रिमेंबर द नेम ऑफ द ransomware एंड इट्स फंक्शनिंग. Moving further toward our next important article that is coming in from the Indian core sector. So at 8.2, India's core sector growth touches 5 months high. यहाँ पे इंडिया कोर सेक्टर जो है वो आपका 8.2% पे इंक्रीज हुआ है जून में और यहाँ पे ये 5 महीनों में सबसे ज्यादा स्पाइक है. और आपका 21.9% स्पाइक स्टील में देखने को मिला है. डबल डिजिट में हमें स्पाइक देखने को मिला है कोल और सीमेंट में. सो जस्ट रिमेंबर फ्यू पॉइंट्स. व्हाट आर द 8 कोर सेक्टर्स? जस्ट राइट डाउन 8 कोर सेक्टर्स क्या क्या है. सबसे पहले आता है कोल, दूसरा आपका आता है क्रूड ऑयल, फिर आपका आता है नेचुरल गैस, देन कम्स द रिफाइनरी प्रोडक्ट्स, ओके, देन कम्स द फर्टिलाइजर्स, देन स्टील, देन सीमेंट एंड देन इलेक्ट्रिसिटी. These are the 8 core sector और यहाँ पे हमें ग्रोथ देखने को मिला है जो कि हमारा 5 महीनों में सबसे ज्यादा है. Now a short news that is ISRO has successfully put Chandrayaan-3 in the trans-lunar orbit. Then there is also a news that law panel will hold its meeting on the Uniform Civil Code. This is also important news, but we will see कि आगे क्या होता है, तब हम इस न्यूज को और ज्यादा डिटेल में डिस्कस करेंगे. Moving further toward our international news, and here there is a news that Sri Lanka envoys bats for land connectivity. We know अभी recently जो श्रीलंकन प्रेसिडेंट थे वो इंडिया पे टूर करने के लिए आए थे, इंडिया पे विजिट करने के लिए आए थे और यहाँ पे दोनों साइड ने प्राइम मिनिस्टर नरेंद्र मोदी ने और श्रीलंकन प्रेसिडेंट मिस्टर विक्रम सिंह, इन्होंने बेसिकली एक अंडरस्टैंडिंग और अपना एक्सप्रेस किया कि there should be a land connectivity because we have historical ties with Sri Lanka and to improve that we need to improve or introduce a land connectivity. तो जैसा एक चैनल टनल आपका यूके को यूरोप से जोड़ता है, ऑन अ सिमिलर नोट हम भी यहाँ पे एक टनल टाइप का या कुछ ऐसा बनाएंगे. दोनों ने डिसाइड किया है कि लैंड कनेक्टिविटी होगी. अब हम यहाँ पे क्या यूज करेंगे, या फिर तो हम राम सेतु को यूज करेंगे या फिर हम अलग से एक टनल बनाएंगे, तो ये अभी बात नहीं हुई है, लेकिन हम यहाँ पे फॉर श्योर एक लैंड कनेक्टिविटी रूट बनाएंगे जिससे आपका जो पोर्ट्स है त्रिकोणमाली का और जो कोलंबो का पोर्ट्स है ये दोनों कनेक्ट हो पाएगा. साथ में इसके अलावा क्या फायदा होगा, इसके अलावा जो आपका श्रीलंका है उसके पास उतनी अच्छी रिफाइनिंग कैपेबिलिटीज नहीं है, तो इसीलिए यहाँ पे ये एक ऑयल पाइपलाइन के थ्रू इस आइलैंड को कनेक्ट करेगा. आइलैंड को जितनी भी नीड होगी ऑयल पाइपलाइन की वो त्रिकोणमाली जो एरिया है वहां के ऑयल टैंकर से ले सकता है. सो इट इज बेनिफिशियल फॉर बोथ द कंट्रीज. Now moving on further toward our next news that is about El Nino effect will suppress rainfall in the second half of the monsoon. So El Nino जो है इसके बारे में पढ़ लीजिएगा, it is a static topic. So El Nino के चलते हमें पता है जो आपका मॉनसून इफेक्ट होता है या रेनफॉल इफेक्ट होता है वो इंडिया में सप्रेस हो जाता है या कम हो जाता है. So that's why El Nino will cause suppressed rainfall in the second half of the monsoon. So this is it for today. I covered all the important news which was there in your newspaper. ऐसे ही हम न्यूज एनालाइज करते रहेंगे डेली बेसिस पे और आप लोगों के लिए रेगुलर रहना बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है. रेगुलरली इस चैनल को फॉलो कीजिए, न्यूज एनालिसिस फॉलो कीजिए, जिससे आपका एक रेगुलरिटी बना रहेगा और आपका करंट अफेयर में पकड़ बना रहेगा. थैंक यू एवरीवन, थैंक यू फॉर अटेंडिंग दिस लेक्चर.